This is the DAR Today podcast, and I'm your host, Brooke Bullmaster Stewart. Well, things start moving in March, don't they? Did you notice in the President General's blog recently, the 133rd Continental Congress website is now live? Normally, we would get all of this news in April, but DAR is launching the website 1 month early to give daughters the opportunity to plan their Congress experience before pre-registration opens and select national event tickets go on sale April 15th, 2024. The events are so fun, interesting, and compelling. I'll be excited to see all of you at these events this summer. Well, today we'll be talking a little bit about the details having to do with that groundbreaking parade in our nation's capital in 1913. Suffragettes advocating for the vote. There are some things about that parade that you might not have heard before, and we're excited to share them with you today. We'll also get some members' perspectives on DAR. We all have those parts of what we do as DAR members that touch our hearts. I think you'll like hearing from these lovely ladies today. We're such a neat, diverse group of women, but yet we all have the same passion for America and a great love for each other. So let's jump right into that segment, and hey, thanks for being with us here today. So Shelly, tell me, what do you love about what DAR does?
Well, I think one of my most favorite things that DAR does is I love how they support and encourage our young people, because they are our future. And I love to see the young people and hear what they have to say. And I just love that. I also love how we support and honor our veterans, because we wouldn't be here if it weren't for them.
Hi, my name's Carole Curran, and I've been a member since 2008, and I have loved the fact that DAR celebrates the creativity of our members by having people who paint or take photos or weave, make things for our contest in American Heritage.
Hi, my name is Sandy Adams. I've been with the DAR for 1 year. And one of the things that I really love about what we do is service for veterans. I'm a veteran myself, and I've spent time with a lot of my chapter members helping give back to those who have given so much to this country.
Hi, I'm Linda Adams, and I think, really one of the best things that DAR has done for its membership is offer the DAR leadership classes. All levels of expertise, you gain a tremendous amount of information, and they're all free. And they're so easy to acquire. I highly recommend you look at the DAR leadership course.
I think my favorite thing is the work with the students. The way that they write their essays is just amazing. They all come through. I've been in 43 years, and we've done a lot of work with the veterans, work with the American Heritage, American history preservation, all wonderful things, but I think the students have to be my favorite thing.
My name is McLean. I've been a DAR member for 9 years now. And the thing that I love what DAR does is the community outreach with the younger generation. I love the community classroom, going into schools, working with students, the essays, the awards. I like that generation is supported by DAR.
Irish heritage often takes the lead in celebrations during the month of March, yet strides for suffrage of women cross-cutting diverse cultural backgrounds began with a new level of earnest in Washington, D.C. on the afternoon of March 3, 1913. The groundwork was laid, of course, by Alice Paul, who grew up attending suffragist meetings with her mother and whose passion for change led her to become arguably one of the most prominent activists for women during the 20th century. Inspired by Emmeline Pankhurst's radical British suffragist tactics, during which time Paul served time in prison and participated in hunger strikes, she would then return to the United States, chair the Congressional Committee of the National American Woman Suffrage Association, the NAWSA, and plan the first and largest women's march of its kind, very cleverly, for the day preceding Woodrow Wilson's presidential inauguration. This well-planned event infused this ongoing 60-year effort with renewed vigor. In just 2 months, Ms. Paul would raise funds to support a march, the expenses for which would top $14,000, covering the cost of floats, banners, speakers, and a 20-page program. The schedule for the day, besides the parade and march, included 2 major events: an allegorical pageant that would unfold on the plaza in front of the Treasury Department, and the pageant would conclude, and all would proceed to Continental Hall. Yes, DAR Memorial Continental Hall, where upon arrival the pageant cast would perform the final tableau for the entire assembled crowd. With the capital city packed for the inauguration, the Women's Suffrage Parade of March 3, 1913 would receive maximum public and media exposure. An estimated 5,000 participants were led down Pennsylvania Avenue by Grand Marshal Jane Burleson and followed by the strikingly beautiful lawyer Inez Milholland in a white cape astride a white horse. I'm sure you've seen images of this. They were joined by 9 bands, 4 mounted brigades, 3 heralds, and 24 floats representing the changing status of American women. Marchers included women and men from across the nation. Participants from countries who had already enfranchised women led the march, followed by long-standing U.S. suffragists referred to as pioneers. They were followed by working women organized by their professions, nurses, professors, actresses, farmers, homemakers, and many more. State delegations followed, and male supporters followed the states. There was much debate about whether or not Black women would be marching in the parade, but ultimately, nearly 50 Black American women participated, including women from Delaware, Illinois, Michigan, and New York, as well as Washington, D.C. It was reported that 25 young women from the Howard University marched in caps and gowns. Most of those students were members of Delta Sigma Theta sorority and marched as a group. As many were told to march at the back of the parade. Some did, but not all. The independent and brilliant Ida B. Wells, a journalist, was legendary for her anti-lynching crusade in the United States in the 1890s. I'm sure you've heard of her. She was an alumna of Rust College, formerly Shaw College, and also a founding member of the NAACP. Wells refused to march at the rear. Instead, she waited until the parade began and joined the all-white Chicago delegation as they marched by. That's where she was from. That was a group with which she should march. Don't we love that? The NAACP said at that time, and I quote, "The women all reported most courteous treatment on the part of the marshals of the parade and no worse treatment from bystanders than accorded white women," end quote. So the march progressed unabated for several blocks. However, shortly after that, crowds descended upon them, blocking their way and hurling insults. Marchers were verbally and physically assaulted, with accounts of local police echoing the sentiments of the mob rather than protecting the participants. Cavalry from Fort Myer was called in to control the crowd. Ambulances were dispatched, yet, although their formation narrowed, the marchers carried on. The participants reached the Treasury building much later than anticipated, yet the approximately 100 women and children who performed the planned allegorical tableau were described by the New York Times as creating, quote, "one of the most impressively beautiful spectacles ever staged in this country." Finally, the actors joined the marchers, progressing to Continental Hall, arriving exhausted, dirty, cold, unnerved, and frustrated. Sources described Alice Paul, still in her academic robes she wore for the march, as recognizing the best situation possible was ultimately the one that unfolded that day. A peaceful parade could have captured media headlines for a day, yet the near riot that occurred would keep the suffrage movement front and center for weeks on end, signaling the start of the final round in the long fight toward achieving the vote for women and setting the precedent for thousands of political marchers to follow. Regarding the parade ending at our own Memorial Continental Hall, while there are no records in our archives that this was planned, accounts of the time tell us that this happened. How special that they recognize the importance of this monument of the American Revolution built by women. Opinions among DAR members were mixed on the subject of votes for women, interestingly. But what a spectacle that must have been, seeing these women end their historic march there on the steps. The next time you're at our house, beautiful, be sure to take a moment to reflect and imagine what this must have been like on that faithful day in March 1913. Well, we leave you today with this quote by Benjamin Franklin. Either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. Well, thanks for listening and be well, dear friends. Let's celebrate the stars and stripes forever and remember, with all of your ancestors behind you, you are the result of the love of thousands. Well, this podcast was written and produced by our incredible team of writers and editors, and we are, as always, so grateful for President General Pamela Rouse Wright and Historian General Suzanne Heskey for their constant guidance. And to all of my fellow DAR members who agreed to be interviewed today, Linda, Sarah, Sandy, Pamela, and Shelly, thank you all for being so generous with your time. The National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is a nonprofit, non-political volunteer women's service organization dedicated to promoting patriotism, preserving American history, and securing America's future through better education for children. Members are all lineal descendants of those who supported the cause of independence in the Revolutionary War. For more information, please visit dar.org. This is the DAR Today podcast.